Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing, love the way you look in the mirror, and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Shurina from CreateYourself.Today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. And today's podcast is the last episode of the week. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk about food news and what's new in food industry, in nutrition industry, how you can make better decisions when buying food, when eating food, when choosing food for your loved ones, when cooking, when choosing the ingredients for your homemade dishes, how you can, be more aware and more educated consumer. It's getting kind of noisy in that space, guys. There are so many news coming out from all over the world, and our food industry, our nutrition industry is definitely developing really fast, probably mostly because of technology and artificial intelligence, but then also just all the tech innovation and all the opportunities for so many companies to start new projects, gene editing, creating new varieties of fruits and vegetables, always coming out with new ingredients, growing our meat in lab, chicken, fish, and beef, and creating all these plant-based substitutions and growing new proteins with microbes. So many things are happening. So in today's episode, I try to choose something that is the most important for you guys, so you could make better for you eating choices easier. So I'm going to be focusing mostly on those kinds of news that are the most important for your health. So let's just start with New York Times article that I believe was published this week, or earlier this week. So the title of this article is "Eat Less Red Meat," Scientists Said. Now some believe that was bad advice. The evidence is too weak to justify telling individuals to eat less beef and pork, according to new research. The findings erode public trust, critics say. So, public health officials for years have urged Americans to limit consumption of red meat and processed meats because of concerns that these foods are linked to heart disease, cancer, and other ills. But on Monday, in a remarkable turnabout, an international collaboration of researchers produced a series of analyses concluding that the advice, a bedrock of almost all dietary guidelines, is not backed by good scientific evidence. So the whole idea of this article is that our nutrition, all the nutrition guidelines and advice is based on very poor science. And so this new international collaboration just proved what I was talking for months and years. But basically what it means is almost all nutritional studies these days are observational studies. Basically what it means is they either ask people somehow what they eat and then correlate that with their health state. Or sometimes they ask them to eat certain ways and then analyze health differences that occur, but that's very rare, and then most of the people never really note what they ate on top of the foods that were proposed in those studies and what kind of lifestyle they had. And so most of the nutritional studies in our world are very poorly designed, because it's really expensive to create those studies, to do proper trials of certain diets. Plus, sometimes it's unethical, because if something has a potential to, cause cancer or heart disease, it's not like you can tell people, okay, eat this diet that can lead to heart disease and diabetes or cancer, and maybe you can do some irreversible damage, right? So a lot of those studies are even unethical. And so because of that, all this nutrition guidelines advice has either no actual facts supporting them, or very little and very derived from very poorly designed studies. So the same is red meat. Guys, I don't eat red meat a lot, mostly because in our modern world, it's really hard to get good quality meat products, from cows and other animals that are not injected hormones, antibiotics, and that are fed natural diet. It's very hard actually to get it on a consistent basis. Fish is easier. That's why I eat a lot of fish. Organ meats from like poultry also easier. But I don't believe that eating red meat really causes any disease. It's just also when people consume a lot of red meat eaters do not consume the best quality meats. And also on top of that, people opt in for desserts and other processed foods, eat French fries with their burgers, drink sodas with their burgers, also consume a lot of vegetable oils, and that will lead to disease that all science shows from better studies. Anyhow, so New York Times just released this article that actually attracted a lot of attention from all sorts of nutrition educators and nutrition communities and all these other organizations. So basically, the conclusion is, you can't say that meat, causes or promotes heart disease, but you can't say otherwise. We just don't know because we have very little evidence. But again, I believe that the best quality whole foods, not overeating, when you don't overeat, when you consume good quality plant and animal foods, no matter whether that's red meat or fish, they do not cause any health problems. It's just overeating and having it as a part of poor diet and poor lifestyle as a whole that causes disease and health problems. That's my personal opinion, and it seems that nutritionists or scientists finally start to understand how poorly designed those nutrition studies are, and how it's unethical and illogical to base any sorts of population-wide dietary guidelines based on those studies, because literally they mean nothing. So if somebody tells you that eating red meat is bad for you, it might be bad for them if they eat them with French fries and Cokes and don't exercise. But it might be a good part of your balanced diet and healthy lifestyle. So don't listen to those who tell you don't eat red meat because it's bad for you, because there is no science supporting that claim whatsoever. Then the next piece of news is kind of related to that. So New York City public schools ban processed meats. So basically the mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, he instituted Meatless Mondays across city schools, and then he also stated that soon there will be no processed meats like salami and stuff like that. Because of health concerns. Processed meats, guys, I agree. Most of the processed meats is crap because of the ingredients, because of the preservatives, because of the quality in general, and especially kids. Kids should consume. Everyone should consume that, but kids, especially during those years when they just develop in those vital years that will affect health for the rest of kids' lives, they should be eating whole food diets with as least preservatives as possible, with the best quality foods. And so Mayor of New York, de Blasio, he said, so the processed meat soon will be out of all schools, cafeterias, and not going to be available at any school food establishment. So that, I believe, good news. And if you live in New York and if you have kids, soon your kids will not be eating processed meat. So again, that, I believe, is a really an amazing news. So let's get to our other news. Some international news for you guys. Dublin, Ireland. Ireland embraces plant-based food for the planet. And so it's a home to Ireland's first vegan supermarket. So basically in Dublin, in Ireland, they open up a whole supermarket that is all vegan products. And it's not just the meat substitutions or plant-based milks and yogurts, plant-based foods. No, it's of course also like fruits and vegetables, but also products for your skincare, body care, some clothing, all the products that do not involve any animal test and any animal products in them. And I believe, when it comes to eating meat, eating fish, eating animal products, that has a huge nutritional implications. And I do not believe that plant-based diet is really a sustainable diet for a human being. We need a balanced diet of different food groups, but I do believe that we do not need animals for our skincare or body care or our clothing. So in that, I'm a huge believer, and I totally support that part of vegan mission. Next news, there was really interesting news inside America's first cannabis cafe. Despite long lines and packed patio, spirits were high on opening day at the Lowell Cafe in West Hollywood, California. So guys, the latest step in marijuana's march into mainstream, a cafe where you can legally light up a joint alongside a plate of vegan nachos or cauliflower bami opened on Tuesday. So the first cannabis cafe was opened in West Hollywood, California, guys, and you can order food there. You can also order a joint there. I'm not sure how it all works, so anyone can smoke a joint in California now. Not that I plan to go to California to smoke a joint. It's probably gonna be easier for me to do it in Europe. I never tried it and don't plan anytime soon. But I don't know if it's a good news or a bad news, but seems like this place has a lot of investors, and there are a lot of cafes that are looking to get legalized too and open different locations all over probably California, maybe later in US, more for a wider audience, not sure. But yeah, if you're someone who is in California or who want to go to California and you want to try this cafe where obviously you can get a bunch of vegan stuff, I don't know, there is that connection with cannabis and vegan diet probably. I don't know, maybe when you get high you want to go vegan for some reason. Anyhow, so West Hollywood, California, this Tuesday was opened first cannabis cafe where you can order a joint legally and officially. Next news, or this news, I believe, guys, for a lot of you who specifically are looking into different vegan options. So you probably heard about Just Egg. It's an egg substitution On Amazon, it says just add cholesterol-free plant-based scramble. It's basically a liquid that supposedly looks and tastes like scrambled eggs when you make it. I haven't tried it and I'm not going to, but if you guys tried it, let me know how it went. But maybe you shouldn't be trying it because with a lot of vegan substitutions these days, guys, it's a very questionable food items for someone who care about their health, because let's read the ingredients in that egg substitution. So water, mung bean protein isolate, that's not that bad. But then there is espresso pressed canola oil, dehydrated onions that are also good, but expeller pressed canola oil that you're gonna be frying, making scramble. I don't think you need to in your diet oxidized vegetable oil. It's highly pro-inflammatory. What else we have here? We have a bunch of natural flavorings that are okay, but then we have potassium citrate, we have soy lecithin, we have tetrasodium pyrophosphate that I have no idea what it is, but probably not some natural ingredient. Triglutamines, nisin, so a bunch of preservatives basically, and it says contains soy. So eggs, guys, are much better. First of all, beans and eggs have completely different nutritional profiles. So eggs have some vitamin A, D, choline, selenium, healthy omega-3 fatty acids, some omega-6 fatty acids. It has that amazing protein that is super well absorbed by most of the people. And so this substitute, I need to analyze nutritional profile of that. Like, I would be really curious what kind of nutrition it has, but I can guarantee you that mung beans do not have the same nutrition as eggs. They have much poorer nutrition, plus the amount, and what's left of mung beans in that scramble substitute is probably like very questionable and probably not that great for you. Plus, again, as I said, oxidized canola oil, bunch of preservatives. You are much better off eating eggs. The next news, guys, besides vegan supermarkets and vegan eggs that you shouldn't be eating if you care about your health, some high-tech food news for you guys. So I read a bunch of articles about technology in food industry, and so some of the trends are food deliveries by robots, especially popular in Japan and China. For now, they operate in hotels, in office buildings, sometimes in universities campuses, in the environment where the environments are predictable and they can cause very little to no problems. So, but in the future, I truly believe that a lot of the deliveries will be handled by some sort of automatic machines or automatic vehicles. So get used to the idea of living with any sorts of robots, be that vacuum cleaner or delivery. The next one, pizza assembling AI, artificial intelligence driven machine. There is a startup in Seattle who is testing, they're testing this machine, pizza assembling AI driven machine that can create 300 pizzas per hour, customizing the toppings depending on what consumers order. So they plan to make that available for different establishments. And I also believe that this kind of automatic food creation going to be the future in most fast food joints. Whole Foods not going to go anywhere, but things like pizzas or burgers that are highly it's easy to make them automatic and they do not require a lot of customization. And especially with artificial intelligence, soon most of the well, not maybe that soon, but at some point, a lot of fast food establishment will have those robots that will assemble our food. And the last, but the sweetest one, guys, is there is a researcher. Let me bring up this article. So this is the sweet news. A chocolate making robot is preparing to make world's best sweets from your kitchen counter. Coco Terra, a Palo Alto, California startup, has developed the world's first kitchen countertop chocolate making appliance with design partner. So I read this article, and basically it is this machine where you can put the ingredients, and they have also app helping you to choose better beans and better ingredients for your chocolate. And this machine has different chocolate recipes, and it takes all of the processes in that complex whole process of chocolate making. They created this machine that makes it all automatically with the ingredients that you provide. And so soon, I'll definitely, when it's affordable, I'd be the person who would be buying that kind of machine, because I truly love chocolate and I want to create my own sugar-free chocolates all day, every day. And yeah, so that's another tech and sweet news from food industry. Let's go to GMO and genetically modified organism, and specifically genetically modified avocados. So the news is from New York Times. Avocado toast meat gene editing. Scientists in the US and Mexico have mapped the DNA of several varieties of avocados, work that could help the fruit survive the effects of climate change. So there is more and more demand for foods in general because the population is growing, and avocado recently has become the star of healthy eating world and of millennials generation. And but then because of global warming and because of droughts and changing weather conditions, a lot of foods that we grow suffer. And so more and more scientists work on different gene editing techniques and to create varieties that can survive in all those different conditions. And so now they map the genes of avocado, and at some point, not very soon, but probably in a few years, because it takes 3 years for an avocado tree to mature to produce fruit. So at some point in the future, they plan to release this genetically edited version of avocado that can grow in many climates and withstand droughts and all other kinds of weather changing conditions. So I'm not sure how you feel about gene editing, but in our food industry, in our food system, very few foods actually are the same as they were a century ago. We changed many breeds of our foods, fruits, animals by selecting certain breeds, by breeding them, and then also genetically modifying stuff and selecting on purpose only certain varieties. So our food system is already quite different from what it was a century ago. So gene editing, I believe it's a step that's going to happen, and we just need to figure out a way how to do it safer, because let's admit it, the population is growing. We need more food, and we need to create better foods that can satisfy our nutrition needs safely, but also that can support our growing population. So avocados are about to get upgraded. The next news is about protein production. So there is this company, Forget Animals, Animal Cells and Plants, says Air Protein, that's the new company. The most sustainable meat is made from microbes and thin air. So this basically talks about the technology of producing protein that also has vitamins and minerals by creating by using certain types of microbes and programming them or editing their genes and their genome, specifically to produce those proteins that have all the amino acids, some vitamins and minerals, and B12. And again, it's not plant-based, it's not animal-based, it's made by microbes and might be suitable for vegans unless they're against eating microbes too. But I don't know if that's possible for anyone while you're on Earth. Anyhow, so the food industry, food tax moves forward, creating new and new food ingredients. Like, foods and food ingredients created by microbes. I believe that's also the future and pretty safe future as long as we learn how to do it safely again. But that's a long journey for humanity as a whole in our food supply. And a smaller news for you, actually a couple of more news. First, Cathay Pacific is the world's first airline to serve OmniPork, a plant-based sustainable alternative to pork. So this is the major Hong Kong airline, and they are starting to serve pork that is plant-based. And of course, why wouldn't they? Pork is pretty popular in that region, and vegan trend is also pretty huge. So I'm sure we're gonna see more of those options on airlines. As I said, because of the ingredients, most of it like really questionable health-wise, but I don't think that this trend's gonna end really soon. Hopefully they're gonna change the ingredients for the better for all of us. And then the last but not least, plastic tea bags release billions of tiny particles, study says. And this is Bloomberg.com. So basically what they say is when you brew your tea in plastic bags, you might be drinking plastic. So my advice, guys, they are not sure yet exactly how bad it is for your health, but that you are drinking particles of plastic, that is for sure when you use plastic tea bags. So my advice to you, use loose tea, or when it's not available, use teas that use paper or cloth tea bags. So that's what I do when I travel and drink my tea from tea bags. I always go for paper. Plus, it's better for the environment, right? So tea bags, go for paper ones or loose tea or paper or tea bags that are made from cloth. So that's it for today, guys. So tea bags, that's, one of the practical takeaways. Then red meat, just make sure that you eat good quality red meat and that you have overall balanced, healthy diet and healthy lifestyle. And then red meat is not going to be bad for you. And, now even New York Times says that nutritional studies are very poorly designed and we cannot base our nutrition guidelines based on those studies because they literally mean nothing. So those are the biggest takeaways today. Also, guys, if you are trying vegan eggs, check the ingredient list and ask me if you're not sure about the ingredients. Most of those vegan egg substitutions and other vegan foods are crap, hiding behind sustainability and better for the planet slogans. Yeah, might be better for the planet, but not for you. So we need to keep humans healthy too. And then if you're someone who would like to try cannabis, so there is the cafe in California now where you can order a joint along with foods. Apparently a lot of vegan options there too, so be sure to check the ingredient list of those vegan options. This is for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this food news episode. A lot of interesting things are happening in food world now. It's almost like reading a storybook or some thriller. Like, so many things are happening. And plus, I also love the technological part of it. The AI-driven robots making 300 pizzas an hour, or a small queue delivery robots roaming around hotels delivering your food to you. So or chocolate making machine. Like, I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully, they actually say that they're probably going to release it for consumers for the next year holiday. So not the 2020, but probably Christmas 2020. So not this year. So I'm really looking forward for that. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Hope you found this episode really interesting, practical, and useful. And you're gonna switch to at least paper tea bags instead of plastic ones, and for real eggs instead of some weird plant-based egg substitution. Have a wonderful weekend. We're gonna have a guest this Monday as usual, so stay tuned for that. But of course, as usual, besides wishing you a wonderful weekend full of wonderful time with your friends and loved ones, have a lot of healthy dinners, guys. Eat better daily.